had to do an assignment where I do a model of the brain, but I was really stuck for ideas. So one day while I was doing breakfast, I came across a pawpaw. Does this not look like the perfect thing to do a model of the brain on? So what did I do? Well, I got a marker pen and I drew the different parts of the brain on the pawpaw. And it probably looks really confusing now, but I am going to explain each part to you one by one. Let's get going. The first part of the brain we are going to discuss is the frontal lobe. This is responsible for thinking and memory, behavior and movement. Our next part of the brain we will be discussing is called the temporal lobe, which is just below the frontal lobe and slightly back. This part of our brain is responsible for learning, hearing, and feeling. Our next part of the brain is called the parietal lobe, which is found just behind the frontal lobe, and this part is responsible for language and touch. Let's move on to the occipital lobe, which is found just behind the temporal lobe and is responsible for sight. Lower down at the back of the brain, we have the cerebellum, which is responsible for balance and coordination. And finally, but just in time because my pawpaw is falling apart, we have the brainstem, which is located at the bottom of the brain. This part is responsible for heart rate, temperature, and breathing. And there you have it, all the pieces of the brain. I hope you guys understand and learn something. Next, what we did was cut up the pieces of the pawpaw and put them together on a plate to show you all the different parts together. I hope you guys all enjoyed and learned something. Thank you for watching.
3 aspects that I learned from this project is: number 1, I learned how to time manage. Number 2, I learned how to put a video together. Number 3, I was able to get a visual representation of the brain and therefore a better understanding. 2 questions that I have about the brain. Number 1, how do you know which learning style is on which side of the brain? I would also like to know the effect that mental health issues have on the brain. The one thing I find the most interesting about learning about the brain is how breathing has a huge impact on the workings of the brain, and how just by breathing you can calm down your whole brain and body.